Good morning, Jordan. Welcome to Load the Box, everybody. Normally you don't hear my voice first, audience. Normally you get to hear the sweet sounds of a Cincinnati man breathing life into a microphone, but today we're going to do things a little bit differently. This week was very different in the state of Minnesota, specifically in the Twin Cities. If you're unaware, um, you probably don't have not had access to the internet lately because on Wednesday morning, there was a shooting at a local middle school, elementary middle school, Annunciation Catholic. Um, Not only rocked the school, but also just rocked that church parish. And two kids died. The shooter died. Three lives were lost in that. And there's also another young student named Sophia. She is in critical condition at the hospital. Surgery and potential surgeries are required to save her life. And I just wanted to start our show today. This is a football show. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be something that we can let loose, talk about our favorite football team for an hour, and go on with our lives. But I just felt it was important and too important to let this just kind of fade away into the background because I think for so many of us in Minnesota, especially, this is probably the first time one of these shootings has impacted us personally. And maybe you didn't know somebody specifically who was impacted. Maybe you don't have friends at the school or you don't have friends who are teachers there or anything like that, but I think at least for me this is something that it hits home on a more personal level because yes, it was, 20 miles down the road from me. And I have family in the education world. Nobody at that specific school, thankfully, but I have family that are teachers, I have family that are admins. I My wife used to be a teacher. And this is just it's just something, and I'm not going to say anything political. I'm not a politician. I'm not going to tell people to take a specific action. I will let the people who are in the positions of authority do that. But I just would be remiss not to comment on this because this could have been my church. This could have been your church. This could have been your school. And it hits home in a different way. And yes, we have football coming around the corner, and that's exciting for everyone. This happened the day before, the Gophers' first football game. State fair's going on. Everybody in Minnesota is kind of enjoying the last few breaths of summer. But I just think it's important to not let this just fade away. And um, so, no further comments on this other than just hold your loved ones close. This could have been, your kids, my kids. I'm not going to pretend to imagine what that feels like to lose a child who has so much life in front of them. So we can talk about football now, but um, it was a big week in Minnesota for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And Jordan, I don't know if you have anything you wanted to say about that, but
I I
I
mean
just wanted to start with that.
I don't and I don't want to turn this into a like a normal segment where we like pass back and forth and give takes and whatever I just I know it gets mocked because of the frequency that it happens. Uh but I personally, I'm a Christian. I do believe in prayer. So like when a Christian, I believe, says thoughts and prayers, that does mean something to me. But I also know that some people want to see like real world action or whatever, and so again, we're not politicians. This isn't a political show. We're not going to get into the I don't think us with our like 75 subscribers are in a position to talk about legislation, but maybe when we hit 100 subscribers, we'll do the you know the Second Amendment and abortion show. Like we'll really just dive into the issues or something. But legitimately, I mean, the way I always phrase it is, thoughts and prayers, good vibes, whatever it is. I'm all the way down in Middletown. I've had a situation like this happen. It wasn't as bad, but my high school, whatever, and I know it can shake a community and it can cause a lot of divisiveness, and it kind of sucks because it should be oddly a unifying thing where people come together to help each other out. And I hope that that's what we see in Minnesota, is a community that comes together to help out, the victims and everything. So,
Absolutely.
definitely a really tough situation and no really good way to segue into it. So I think what we're going to do is kind of do like a how like stop here, like on the sad talk, and then get into the goofball variety hour that we have planned here, because there's a football game on. So I'm gonna take a stop, I'm gonna take a breath, and then we'll I don't want to say stout the show, because obviously the show has stouted and this is important, but we will start the football pout. So here we go. Football, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. There was a whole slate of college football games on the last 2-3 days. It has been amazing. We're recording this on Monday morning, so North Carolina still has to play today. We'll see Bill Belichick and his 17-year-old girlfriend on TV tonight. It'll be fun. My Catholics lost last night, but I won because I bet against them. So I'm feeling pretty good because I know my Catholics and they let me down. So also made some money on LSU. We're talking about like pennies here, folks, but just an electric time to be alive. It's been a beautiful weekend. I told Will before we got started, I've had 3 straight fires. It's 3 straight nights of fires planned, bush, not my house burnt down. I threw some like leafy trees on there, or leafy parts of trees on there, and you see those leaves go up and they're still on fire floating through the air, and you're like, huh, pretty sure I have a good homeowner's insurance policy, but I don't know if it covers idiocracy, but just an electric time. And so we are T-minus, 3 or 4 days from the NFL season kicking off. We are a week exactly from today, so like 6 days from the Vikings' first game. And we've got a lot to cover. YouTube, this show will be broken up into, I think, 2 days for you, podcast audience. Strap in, grab some popcorn, and join us for this ride. First thing we have to talk about, scheduling did not allow it, but like to do the emergency show that everyone else did. But I also don't think this is worthy of an emergency show. Adam Thielen's a Viking again. We talked about our thoughts. I think we kind of laid out everything, so we don't have to do a 30-minute segment on Adam Thielen being back. Everything I said a week ago, I still believe. I think everything Will said a week ago, he still believes. Will, have you had any change of heart? Or are you still kind of like, man? And also, I guess, do you think the Vikings overpaid for a washed-up old receiver?
I don't think that they grossly overpaid. There's maybe a slight overpay, but when you were in the Vikings position, you were going to have to give up something to get anybody, whether it was Thielen or anybody else, if you were going to make a trade, unless you were going to go just pick people off the street, like Amari Cooper was picked off the street. Who did he sign with, by the way? Like Houston or something?
Was it Houston? I thought it was Vegas.
I don't know, some AFC team that won't compete this year. But I think what was the cap, or not the cap, the draft pick machinations, it amounts to about a 4th round pick or something when you do all the him and Han between the pick swaps and the whatever. I think the thing that I like the most, truthfully, Jordan, is the money. Yes, for this current year, I think I said this on last week's show or 2 weeks ago or whenever we actually recorded. We've had technical difficulties, folks. So if this is the first show you're listening to in like 3 weeks, we apologize. We've had technical difficulties. We've had vacation. We've had stuff we've recorded and then we couldn't post it. It was a month. Bad time to have bad technical problems when it's, August and the season starts. But anywho, so I think the good thing about it is, like I said in the last show, this year's cap hit does not matter a whole lot to me. They're still going to have cap space. They're still going to be able to sign somebody if they want. My bigger worry was future years, and it looks like we have not got all the details on this, but it looks like Thielen took a pay cut for this season, because the Panthers were not willing to pay any of his salary. Um, and I believe also his incentives were reduced. This is per Tom Pelissero. And I think there's not details on this yet, but I think, Jordan, unless you know something else, I think the cap hit number is reduced for the next couple of years as well.
Think
Um,
that's true.
that's all. It's all a little fuzzy to me at this point. I mean, we just got reports from Pelissero and company a couple days ago. This sort of stuff doesn't work itself out into the public eye for probably a little while, but um, I think all said and done, with the trade and the draft picks and the money, I think it's probably about fair what they gave up. Um, it'll be easy to say one way or another after the season's over whether or not they overpaid, but that's obviously hindsight's 2020 at that point. So I'm not too upset about it. I think we kind of knew it was coming. I don't think they overpaid too much. Like I said, I would love to be absolutely wrong, and I would love to see Adam Thielen put up 700 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns and absolutely valid wide receiver 2.5. But we will see.
I don't think he's going. And I'm going to reiterate partially my take. One, I want to say I don't think they overpaid. I think that, okay, it's like a fourth round pick. The only fourth round pick of note that the Vikings have drafted recently was like, let me choose words carefully here, but it was probably like Kyrie Jackson, because we all thought he had a very bright upside. And then, tragically, he lost his life, and so we'll never really know. But other than that, it's been like Ty Chandler, like
Yeah.
like I don't know, Kwesi. You can't play both sides of this fence. Of Kwesi sucks at the draft, and also he can't trade draft picks to get guys on the roster because we need those draft picks. You have to I think you have to pick a lane, and you have to say, okay, if Kwesi sucks at the draft, then he should trade to get some depth at positions and use those later round picks to, and don't get me wrong, if JJ McCarthy's good and we end up having to pay him $70 million, Kwesi's not going to be long for the job, because then he has to hit on the draft because he needs to save money. But I think that what I expect from Adam Thielen is, and this is maybe a dumb take, you remember Jarius Wright?
Of course.
Yeah, like just didn't do anything crazy, but it felt like once or twice a game he'd have like a huge third down catch. That's what I expect from Thielen. I don't expect him to catch a ball 15 plus yards downfield. I think everything he does is going to be shout, underneath, pick up a first down, and then get Jalen Naylor back in the game. And it's sad that that's what he is reduced to as a player, but he's 35 years old. I mean, that's just life as a football player. So, in my opinion, I like that Thielen's back. I don't expect him to have 750 yards. I don't expect him to look like the Adam Thielen that we all knew and loved 5 years ago. But it's fun to have him back, even if it is now basically and this sounds stupid, he's basically a receiving tight end at this point. You know what I mean? I mean, he's basically Travis Kelce, where it's like, he's going to come in, he's going to pick up a first down, he'll be good in the red zone, but he's not going to catch a ball, make a man miss, and then run for, 50 yards after the catch. He's just not that guy anymore. I did like Thielen's comment about, he said to the media something along the lines of, I thought the next time I'd be talking to you was when I was signing my one-day contract to retire as a Viking. And I don't know if he's laying the seeds of like, this is the last year. I wish he would just say like, this is my last year. Like, drink it in. I'm going to retire at the end of it. I wanted to do one last year before I go off into the sunset with my team, with my Vikings, and try and win them a championship, whatever. But that's what I'm going to believe in my head canon, is that this is Adam Thielen and Harrison Smith's last year, and I would like to send them both off maybe with the best season in Vikings history. And I don't think that that's off the board. Okay, it's probably off the board because I feel like some of those 70s teams that made the Super Bowl were really good. And so I don't know if they will be that good, but maybe they make a Super Bowl, like, and maybe they win the Super Bowl. Who knows? So we'll do, the playoff predictions on the second half of all this. But I'm excited that Thielen's back. I was fired up. I text my wife immediately, just an image, and it was that, and not going to be political. Please don't take it this way. You guys know those memes? It's like that Kanye song that's like, everything that I have, praise the Lord. Like, and it's like all that. I put the, screenshot Adam Thielen traded to Vikings to that song. I sent it to my wife and I was like, we are so back. She texted me back in all caps. She was fired up. She told me the other day, I was out there getting the first file going. She said, I was on my phone on Instagram and I saw like an Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson hype video for this upcoming season. I'm fired up. That's my wife. Like, she's so fired up about it. I mean, he's just a fan favorite, and I'm so happy he's back. And what really makes this hurt a lot less, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, we got like a 5th or 4th round pick for Sam Howell. We were gonna cut him, so like, I don't know, man. What was it? Sam Howell for Adam Thielen and some pick swaps. Like, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I did want to comment on that. The whole, whether or not they overpaid with, trade of the picks to Carolina. I was actually talking to my uncle about this. Shout out Uncle Wade. I was driving with him up to see my grandma who passed away this week. Yes, it's been a crazy week in the Goodwin household. We were driving up to see her, and he starts talking about like how many picks we have, and I just started to realize we have so many draft picks for the next couple of years. We've traded so many people. I mean, we got a draft pick for Ed Ingram, people. We got a pick back for Mekhi Blackman.
Sam Darnold's going to turn into a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, these guys who, obviously not Darnold, but these guys who we traded for something, we're just going to get cut. And the Vikings, and you have to credit the front office, Kwesi, especially, for turning these guys who were basically going to be nothing burgers into something. And so, yes, maybe we gave up a 4th round pick equivalent for Thielen, but got a bunch of other ones just sitting there. So,
we had 10 at one point. We had 10 picks in this upcoming draft for a guy who can't draft.
And like, of course, you obviously you have to. If you're going to build long-term sustained success, you either have to hit in the draft or you have to hit in UDFAs. He's hitting in UDFAs, but we also need to be hitting on 1st-round picks, 2nd-round picks, 3rd-round picks. Those are the guys who are going to stick around longer. The track record of UDFAs' long-term careers is just not great. Yep. So, all that said, Mr. Thielen's back. And no, people, it's not 3 deep as much as everybody wants it to be.
It's foul deep.
Adam Thielen will be running 10-yard curls and, outs to the flat and option routes underneath. And here's the thing. He is still such a good route runner. Him and Bryce Young were elite together. Like, I don't think people realize how good they were because the Panthers were terrible. But I saw some stat, and I don't like ESPN's QBR metric because no one else uses it, and it's misleading, and it's not a helpful statistic, but their scale goes up to 100, and Thielen and Bryce Young on targets were in like the 95 range, which is about as good as you can get. And, this is a guy that last week I was saying he's washed. Why are we trading for him? All this stuff. So, no matter what I think or you think about Adam Thielen, he can still run a route. He can still cut people up that way. So
he's never needed to win. This is a big thing with him too. He's never needed to win with speed. He's not Robert Woods, who ran a hell of a go. You tell him run straight, catch ball, he's really good at it. Well, now he's in his 30s, and he can't run straight as fast as he once did, so he really doesn't have any value to bring to your team because he can't run a little option underneath route. He can't build a chemistry with a QB so they know, I'm going to zig, you throw it to my zag, and I will zag at the perfect moment. You know what I mean? And Thielen's always been that. all of the generic white receiver stereotypes. He's always been that. I mean, he has. He's always been great route runner, hard walking, and yes, he has great hands. And yeah, occasionally he did win on a deep post, but I don't think that was because he had elite speed. I think that was because he ran a good route and the defense did not respect his deep speed. He's not going to be asked to do that. I don't think he's going to make a play like he did in the 2020 playoff game against the Saints, where he, toasts the defense and sets up a playoff win. But I could certainly see him catching a touchdown in overtime of a playoff game to win the game from the goal line, because until I see it, the Vikings can't run the ball inside the 5, so I'm going to operate on that assumption until Chicago Monday night, when they hopefully run the ball inside the 5. So we'll see. That's ultimately what it comes down to with everything that we're going to say tonight or today. We will see, because a lot of it's assumptions, a lot of it is our opinions, but that's, why you're listening, and it's fun to give them, and so that's why we're doing it. I'm going to be real. I don't remember what the next topic is after Adam Thielen.
Well, yeah, I mean, just briefly, is there anything on the other thing we haven't had a chance to talk about is the 53-man roster obviously got released.
Ty Chandler still has a job?
Yeah, he still has a job. I do think a lot of that has to do with injuries.
Yeah.
CJ Ham's on IR, which is unfortunate. I think that hurts the running game early on. He'll be out for at least 4 games, which is not the best way you want to start the season. No Ham, no Addison for the first 3. So you keep, Chandler and Xavier Scott kind of both by default, I guess. And
you think they might try and make Xavier Scott do the CJ Ham thing?
I doubt it.
I do too. I think there's just no fullback. Or maybe they put Oliver back there. I don't know. They're I don't know.
Or they might just not do fullback stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's more likely.
You can do heavy tight end packages in that scenario if you're trying to really load up and run the ball. Yeah, maybe you don't line up Josh Oliver in the backfield, but he effectively still acts as a lead blocker. I don't know.
Yeah.
He is a very talented offensive player, especially when it comes to blocking. So if you want to, I bet he would acquiesce and learn how to come out of the backfield.
Oh, he'd love that. He gives me the vibes. He would love that. Josh Oliver is just like Jim Kleinsaw reincarnated, people. We need to get on board with this. He's a blocking tight end, kind of actually shockingly okay at catching the ball for a 6th offensive lineman, and every time he catches the ball, it's electric, even though it's usually 10, 15-yard catch. It's nothing crazy, but I love Josh Oliver. You know what's crazy that I want to know your take on, because I know you have a take on it. I'm playing with a bottle opener, just so everyone knows. Gabe Murphy getting just straight up waived. I've seen a lot of stuff about how they're too deep in that position. They like the depth that they have there, and he doesn't contribute on special teams to the level they want. I'm not alone here. Right? That was shocking.
I was shocked. I think especially how early it felt. It wasn't like when was the cut down deadline? Like 4 p.m. on Tuesday or something. It wasn't like a 3:58 p.m. wave. It was like the day before or something. It felt really early. Now, they must have known something that none of the fans knew, because nobody else picked him up.
Yeah.
Now, reminding folks that you have to be signed to the 53-man roster. If another team picks you up, you can't just go to their practice squad. So if somebody liked him, they'd had to like him enough to put him on their 53. So yes, he was undrafted, all that. He's had injury history. He's just a guy that I'm kind of shocked that a bad team wouldn't take a flyer on. I mean,
how is he not in Cincinnati right now? That's my question. They are their defense is so bad. They have the best player on their defense is Trey Hendrickson, and he's old. So you gotta refill the tank. And Gabe Murphy seems like a promising young man to have in the chamber.
And yeah, I mean, obviously the other thing too that we need to remember is, yes, he had 1.5 sacks in preseason. Yes, he looks just athletic as all get out, and he looks like Jonathan Grenard in a lot of ways, just like the way that he moves, the body type, the athleticism, the fight, all that. But we also don't know if he was doing his job. He might not have been doing his assignments in preseason properly. And I mean, Timberwolves fans will know this. Like Josh Minot, a guy who had all the athleticism in the world but couldn't see the court because he did not have game plan discipline. And he would just not do what he was supposed to the entire time.
Did you
That
see?
could be the situation with Gabe Murphy.
Did you see
Go
the
ahead.
clip of oh man, what is the Oregon Ducks, their head coach Dan Lanning or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had a quote. He had a freshman wide receiver that pancake blocked somebody into the end zone, and a reporter asked him, "Hey Dan, what do you think of that freshman pancaking somebody? Does that get you fired up that you have that level of effort from your freshman?" And Dan Lanning said, "It got me fired up, but he was blocking the wrong guy." And like, he was like, "I'll take the touchdown, but we have to clean that up." And that's a thing. Like, they scored a touchdown on the play. It made the rounds on social media. It was a great play. But if you're blocking the wrong guy, that play can go from a touchdown against Long Island State to, hey, that's a tackle for loss against the Buckeyes. That's, you know what I mean? Like, it matters. And so from a fan perspective, yeah, that was a great play. That kid's going to, get him more playing time. From a coaching perspective, that kid sucks. He doesn't know the playbook.
Yeah, and good news for the Vikings, at least for Vikings fans, is that Gabe Murphy is on the practice squad.
Yes.
So he's one play away. And obviously, he can be snagged off the practice squad by a different team, and all that stuff still is up for grabs in the way NFL rosters can be built and reduced and all that. But he's still in the organization. He's still going to be at practice. He's still going to have the opportunity to show the coaching staff what he's made of. And if he sticks around and injuries happen, they invariably do in the NFL, there's probably a chance we'll see him on Sundays at some point this season. So, yes, I was shocked, but that's why they're making the money that they're making to make these decisions, and you and I are recording a low budget podcast. So
Hey, the budget's out through the roof. Okay, the budget is ridiculous over here at Loth
what do you think about what do you think about the cornerback situation?
I hate it. I've hated it. Okay, so first of all, quick victory lap. I meant to do this, and then this is how I was going to start the show if given the opportunity. I bat like 108 on this show. Okay, I'm not good. I'm like a pitcher. I have a low batting average, and I don't have good stuff on the mound either. I'm a scrub. I admit that. But man, I'm 2 for 2 on some pretty. I was 10 toes down on two things, and both of them came to fruit. Last season, I said we should trade Jordan Addison, get Adam Thielen, and get like a second-round pick, and we could have replaced Jordan Addison with a rookie, and this season we would have all been excited about Luther Bowden or whoever it ended up being, and we would also have Adam Thielen, and whatever the case is. I get we didn't do that, but I stayed 10 toes down on we should just trade for Adam Thielen to fill in for Addison's suspension. And that was like in April. That was in May. That wasn't, when everybody else was saying it. So I was right there. The Vikings agreed with me. Thank you, Minnesota. I appreciate it. The next thing I've been saying since the end of the season, we cannot trust Mekhi Blackman. He's like Harvey Dent in the Batman movies. You can't trust him. And the reason is he was like barely an acceptable defensive back, and then he blew his knee out, and everyone just acted like he was going to come back and take that big next step and become Pat Surtain Jr. or whatever. Like, that's not how life goes, guys. Life is not fair. He was okay, kind of bad year one. Then he had a major leg injury, and now he's coming back, and I was like, I don't see it. I just don't see it. And everyone just kept waiting. He's going to be, CB2 behind Byron Murphy, or he's going to be CB3 with Isaiah Rodgers and Byron Murphy. Don't worry, Mekhi Blackman, they're just slow rolling it. They're just, they're waiting to get him his reps, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't think he's good. I think he's still this guy he was 2 years ago getting toasted by T. Higgins in Cincinnati. I don't think the Vikings want him to be on the field. And the Vikings hand wrote me a letter and said, hey, dummy, you were right on this one, actually. Congratulations. You showed us the truth and the light that Mekhi Blackmon's kind of mid. So they trade him. I was shocked that they traded him. I have a whole analogy that I'll do quickly. I don't love the house that I live in. You know, it has some memories. It's a fine house. The heat works. It's serviceable. I would want this house as like a backup house. I'm not. They just burnt the house down. They just said, we don't like this house. We're gonna burn it down and go live inside Jeff Okuda, which is, I think, the equivalent of like a 2002 Honda Civic. Like what are we doing? I don't trust Jeff Okuda. Let me go 10 toes down on that. I'm nervous about this secondary, and I hope we get a lot of sacks because we're gonna need that. Jeff Okuda, what are we doing, Kwesi?
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Okuda because that was the other 10 toes down take you had, that he would be a training camp cut, and
I'm in shock.
he still might not make it to week 1. Who knows? Maybe the Vikings trade for somebody and they go sign Stephon Gilmore again and Shaq Griffin again, and both those guys are available, by the way.
Jack Jones is out there.
Jack Jones? No, I don't think so. Actually, I think he's
Oh, did he get signed?
Chargers. I think he's signed with the Chargers. Maybe.
Okay, you keep going. I'm going to look this up just so that way I can confirm, because that he's been like the only redeeming thing for me is like maybe he'll do, you know.
Dolphins. Jack Jones. Dolphins.
That's such a Dolphins move.
Yeah, the replacement for Xavier Howard or something. I don't know. I feel like they've been a cornerback factory and just churning out these troublesome dudes that no one really wants on their team. Yeah, I don't have a ton of confidence with the secondary, and you know, you're saying that we gonna need a lot of sacks. They're not gonna be coverage sacks, that's for sure. We're gonna have to be winning up front and forcing quarterback's hand early in downs. You and I love Josh Metellus on this show. I think Josh Metellus he has earned the respect and the admiration that he gets from us, from Vikings fans. But to have him basically as your best slot corner option is not the most comforting thing in the world. He is, one of my friends described him as the Hulk. You know, he's great. He's violent. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can be in every position. The whole thing with Josh Metellus is he plays 12 different positions. But, you know, and he's great at that. He's the perfect baseball utility player. But what that typically means is you're not elite at one of them. You're not going to be putting Harrison Smith in 12 different positions because Harrison Smith is an elite safety. Let him play safety.
Yeah.
Josh Metellus is great, but having him being our best option at covering a shifty slot receiver on 3rd and 4 is not my favorite option right now.
And what the problem is I think what the answer to that dilemma is Byron Murphy plays in the slot, but then guess who's coming out to play boundary corner? It's Jeff flippin' Okuda.
Or Nudie, who looked terrible in the preseason.
I'd still rather be Nudie. I'd rather crash and bone with Nudie than Jeff Okuda, man.
You and I have been on Nudie Island, and take that however you want, audience.
Whoa.
But I just sat on my couch throughout the preseason and just facepalmed every time Nudie was involved in a play. It was not pretty. And, you know, what did we hear from Brian Flores all preseason? Yeah, you know, Nudie looks pretty good. He's making some plays on the ball, but we need to work on his fundamentals. And it's all, you know, boring and stuff to say that, but yes, preseason only shows you so much. They're probably just playing shell cover 2. It's very vanilla, but Nudie did not inspire confidence in me in the preseason, and yet we're talking about Dwight McLeathern here, people. He has a strange nickname.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our cornerback room. They got 4 of them.
We just can't. We can't run Jeff Okuda out there. We can't let the Lions beat us 3 times this year. Because I can't do it. It's gonna be who was the dude? Oh no, was it Bashad Boylan? Was that his name? The dude that like tweeted like "S my D Minnesota," like
Yes.
just I can't do Bashad Boylan again because I don't. Jeff Okudah's not grateful for this opportunity. I don't get the vibe that he has been humbled and is ready to accept Kwesi as his Lord and Savior and buy into Kevin O'Connell's culture. Like, it kind of feels like if he starts getting booed because he keeps getting toasted because he's not good, he will revert to like flipping off the crowd and saying "S my D Minnesota." This could crash bad.
Yeah, so thoughts and prayers for Jeff Okuda.
T's and P's.
People.
T's and P's. Oh man. All right. Well,
Last 53-man roster thing. What do you think about our new quarterback who I think he grew up in North Dakota
oh no way.
and he played at North Dakota State? Have you heard of this guy?
Trey Lance? Did we sign Trey Lance?
I got a text from somebody on whatever day it was that we signed Trey Lance, or not Trey Lance, Carson Wentz. And I saw the text say, "Hey, did you hear he played at North Dakota State?" My heart dropped. I thought it was Trey Lance, and I about threw my phone in the river. And then when I scrolled back in the text, I realized, okay, it's Carson Wentz. It's not as bad as I thought it might have been, or maybe it is as bad. So what do you think about our new QB2, we think?
QB 2.5. I'm gonna say the same generic things I said about our red-headed backup last year. Even though he wasn't the backup last year, Sam Darnold was technically the starter, and Kevin O'Connell swore there was no way J.J. McCarthy was going to take that job, man. We believe in Sam Darnold, and whatever. If J.J. McCarthy gets hurt and misses significant time, and Carson Wentz comes in, I'm just going to go back over a year ago now, but to J.J. McCarthy's meniscus injury. I'm going to copy-paste the same takes I had back then about this felt like it was a house money season. Well, it's a little different. Last season, it was like, oh, it's house money. I don't expect anything from this team, except I get to see J.J. McCarthy, what he has. And now I don't even get that. So the season was ruined. And then we go and we win 14 games and, a couple plays away from potentially having the 1 seed. So what do I know? But I don't see it with Wentz. I don't know. He had that one really good year in Philly. But then, his backup comes in and plays just as well and wins them the Super Bowl. And that kind of, to me, I don't want to say it diminishes it because he still had a great year, but it kind of feels like could anyone have done that? Like any serviceable NFL quarterback, could they have, went and won a Super Bowl like that? And I think the answer, I don't know. Again, Nick Foles played out of his mind. He had God on his side. There was a whole, not conspiracy, but there's a whole different conversation to be had about that playoff run. But I don't know. I don't love Carson Wentz. I like him as a backup. I like him to be in the room. This is stupid, but he's won 2 Super Bowls riding Pine. So he sees what Super Bowl cultures typically look like. He sees what is expected of that. Now the question is Wentz going to lead from behind and set the tone of I've been on Super Bowl winning teams, guys. We can't be doing this. We have to do that. Is he going to be vocal like that? Oh, did he just cash a paycheck and he's going to come in and say, "LOL, JJ McCarthy, do you not see they rolled over a coverage over on the left side and you threw this pick"? I would have seen that. You're dumb. And then let the meeting go. I'm interested to see what he thinks or how he operates.
It's I think, and you mentioned the 2017 season with Philly. That was 8 years ago, and that was the same season Case Keenum took the Vikings not almost the Super Bowl. They got to the NFC Championship game. That was nice.
They were up 7-0.
They were. If you paused the win probability at about 12 minutes left in the first quarter, we had a good chance. Yeah, I think it's hard to know. The thing that I will continually come back on with this coaching staff and regime is that I trust their quarterback process. And they're not going to just willy-nilly sign a guy. They will have done their homework. They believe that this guy is someone that can positively impact winning. whether he's playing or not. And if there's anything that I trust with Kevin O'Connell, it's quarterback development and it's quarterback smarts and it's quarterback decision making. And so bringing in Carson Wentz, although at times he's been a polarizing figure, I think you'd be hard pressed to say he's actually a bad dude. Um, but he's had a weird career. But he has very much, for sure, been humbled in the sense that he hasn't started since he kind of effed around with the Colts in 2021. And he's basically been a backup in Washington and for the Rams and for the Chiefs. He's been in a different place every year for the last 5 seasons. And he can learn a playbook quickly. And he's been a backup for a long time. And so those are two things that are going to be asked of him here. He's, I guess, technically a veteran. So, hopefully that veteran presence helps the couple other young guys in the room, which we're not going to get into Max Brosmer here, but holy crap, Max Brosmer made the 53-man roster. That's pretty cool.
He's the GOAT.
Undrafted guy from the University of Minnesota makes the 53. He might play in Chicago if anything happens to JJ because he might be more ready than Wentz.
And he'll
Who
win.
knows?
He'll sling it. I love what I'm seeing from Max Brosmer. I really don't I watched that that Titans game and I was like, I'm waiting for it to happen. I'm waiting for the holy cow, this guy's crazy, but it just never really came along. I was like, oh, okay, he's serviceable. I like there's something there. I worry that he's already he's not going to develop past where he's at because he's so old. This his peak? But
the good thing is you keep him around. If something bad does happen to JJ and he actually gets another bad season-ending injury, you could put Brosmer in there and say okay, we can't bank on anything from McCarthy anymore. Yep. He's too injury prone. We can almost act as if Brosmer is our new rookie project, and we're gonna develop this guy.
Yeah.
Kind of starting from square one in that way as well. Then, so you're not then just throwing away another season, putting a mid-term veteran who's going to be there for a year. Arnold was great last season, but that wasn't going anywhere long-term. And do you really want to do that with Wentz for another year? Anyways, we don't need to get into QB 2 and 3 talk. I think keeping Brosmer around is smart.
I love it. And it is crazy that he made it solely because of the grassroots campaign that was started at Load the Box to give Max Hosmo a job. And now the Hosmo has a job. Golf claps for us. We did it, folks. We did it. I feel like the trope of the campaign manager watching the election with a shot in his hand, and he sees his candidate got elected, and he downs his shot and says, "That's my boy," and then he goes home and hates his life forever or whatever. Okay, let's talk about some playoff teams real quick, and then we're gonna do the Chicago debacle. Okay, we're gonna start in the AFC because it doesn't affect the Vikings at all. AFC East. I have the Bills winning the division. I don't think anyone is as good as them. Any doubts?
No, the Bills are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. So, yeah, they're going to win. They're going to win the East.
I disagree with that. I didn't really seed mine out, but I think we'll go.
I didn't really, to be honest.
Okay, but that's a fair take. That's a fair take. Do you have any other playoff teams in the AFC East?
I actually do. I got the Dolphins making it as a wild card team.
Okay, I like it. I do not have any other playoff teams in the AFC East. I thought about the Jets, shockingly. Yep, I think that Justin Fields and a good defense can take you somewhere. Not foul, we're talking wild card weekend, but I think you can go somewhere with that. In the AFC West, I have the Chiefs winning it. I have the Broncos as a playoff team, and I have the Las Vegas Raiders as a playoff team.
Dude, you gotta get off this Raiders hype train, dude. I feel like you're always on Raiders.
They are my NFL White Sox. They are a trashy fan base that I want to be a part of, and look, they got Geno, they got Pete Carroll, they have Ashton Genty, now they've got Amari Cooper, even though they already had Brock Bowers, and I think they're going to be a playoff team.
Okay, I respect the aggression. The Chiefs are my only AFC West playoff team this year.
Really?
And that goes very counter to the rest of the world talking about this division having three playoff teams potentially. And, you didn't even mention the Chargers. That's a team that's going to get a lot of smoke here. Um, the Broncos and the Chargers both made the playoffs last year. It was a kind of similar to the NFC North kind of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, just Chiefs for me from the West.
All right. So I have 3 playoff teams out of the AFC West. That's kind of crazy. Which means I only have one wild card spot left. We're going to the AFC North. I have the Ravens winning the division. And I have the Cleveland Browns getting the number 1 pick, and the Bengals do make the playoffs, I think.
Oh, you had me for a minute there. I was saying, like, okay, so who's going to play quarterback in Cleveland? Is Kevin Stefanski going to play? I mean, they've got like 18 of them, but none of them can actually throw the ball straight.
No, they suck. They're terrible.
They just signed, who's your boy from New England?
Zappy.
Practice. Yeah, Bailey Zappi. I mean, how many guys do they need to play quarterback over there? It's insane.
It's a cluster.
Yes, they have Joe Flacco, who's older than dirt, starting for them. I mean, he's retired, I don't know, 6 times already, but he's starting at quarterback for them week 1. And yes, he's actually 40. Tom Brady just ruined old quarterback. Like Rodgers is like 47. Joe Flacco's in his 40s. We got these ancient dudes playing quarterback. So you have Ravens winning the division, Bengals wild card.
I do have the Bengals getting a wild card.
I have the exact same. Ravens first, Bengals second. Bengals will get a wild card.
So how many playoff teams? Are you going to take 2 from the South?
Yeah, spicy.
Oh boy.
I know.
Oh boy. Well, look, it took everything in me not to just say the Jags are going to win this division. I think there's going to be a jungle cat fight between the Jags and the Bengals for that 7th spot in the playoffs. The Bengals defense is terrible, man. And I'm going to be honest, it is not because I love the Jags. Like, oh, they added Travis Hunter. He's a needle mover. Like, I think he's going to be good, but he's a rookie. I can't put, like, he is instantly taking them to the playoffs on the board. So I have the Texans winning the division. I have a lot of respect for the Titans. I want to see them come back. I do want to see Cam Ward succeed. Part of that is because a good friend of mine swore that Cam Ward would be good back when he was at Washington State. And here we are. He was the number 1 pick. And so props to, it was Jack. It was the FOMO host of this show. So props to him.
That's impressive because Cam Ward, I mean, yes, it was a weak draft last year and the Titans needed a quarterback, so they're going to go take somebody. But number 1 pick, he, came from literally nowhere. I think he was a 0-star recruit. It's probably been talked about as much as that's been talked about as much as Adam Thielen selling dental insurance. So, or whatever, dental equipment or whatever he was going to sell. I have the Houston Texans winning that division. Did you say that you had the Texans winning the division?
Yeah,
well?
I did. I'm sorry. I have the Texans winning the division. I have no other playoff teams.
Figured it was implied because you were talking about the Jaguars being a wild card potential. But yes, Texans win the division. I think CJ Stroud remembers how to play quarterback again. And I have the Titans. Sneaking in there. The theory that I take, and I should just lay this out here now before we get into the NFC, is the amount of playoff teams that roll over is only about like a little over 50%. You have, somewhere between like 4 and 7 new playoff teams every year or something. I'm probably getting the numbers wrong on that, but this is actually a Colin Cowherd thing that he put me onto a few years ago, realizing that teams it's not just repeats, even though you think it's going to be. So I try and take some big swings with this because you can't just say, oh, it's going to be the Eagles again and it's going to be the Chiefs again. And
somebody's going to shock us.
So
maybe 2 teams.
Yeah, there's going to be a weird team that makes it. We weren't terribly shocked by the Vikings last year, but I mean, I only picked them to win 8 or 9 games, so I was shocked in some ways for sure. But I mean, the NFL world had them winning like 6 or 7. So there's going to be a strange team in there that jumps out of nowhere and makes the playoffs. So just to rehash that, I have Chiefs, Ravens, Texans and
Bills.
was Bills winning the divisions. And then I have Dolphins, Bengals, Titans
All
in
right.
the
I
wild card
have
spots.
Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Texans. My wild cards are the Broncos, Raiders, and Bengals. And that is
And I think the last thing I'll say about the AFC is it feels sort of lame that we have the same division winners, but I don't know if you felt this going through this exercise that the AFC, I think we probably both believe is the overall stronger conference. It just has more potential Super Bowl challengers, but they definitely have better quarterbacks overall. But it almost feels there's less parity, I think. I think you could look at the NFC and almost say like any of the teams could win a division this year.
except for the
Like
Cowboys.
almost any of them. Except for the Cowboys. Yeah, I mean you could look at almost any team and be like, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they won the division.
For sure.
In the AFC, it feels very chalky.
Like if the Bills don't win the division, Josh Allen got abducted by aliens. You know what I mean? Like he fell off the face of the earth because there's no shot that if he plays a full season, they don't win that division. Like I just don't see any of those teams being that good. It feels like at the end of the day, of the playoff teams that I gave, that we both gave, if you made me give my final like foe right now, I'm gonna say it's gonna be like it's gonna be the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, the Ravens. Like you know what? Like yeah, the AFC is just playing the same movie over and over again. The NFC's it's action packed. It's fun over here. Let's jump into the NFC. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Do we want to do our Super Bowl pick from the AFC first?
uh let's wait.
Okay. All right. NFC. We'll start in the NFC East. Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, Commandos. I've been going back and forth on this all day. And because I don't think it can just be chalk, I don't think everything can just stay the same. I'm going to say the Commandos win the division, the Eagles are a wild card team. And that's super disrespectful for a team that just won the Super Bowl by 80. But, man, I really like what the Commandos did on that offense, man. It's looking pretty good.
Speaking of, Terry McLaurin, that was the guy who I was like, hey, the Vikings should trade for him.
Yeah.
The Commanders re-signed Terry McLaurin, by the way. He's back. Back and happy. It's amazing what money can do.
Yep.
I have the same thing, Jordan.
Wow.
The NFC East has not had a repeat champion since 2004, and it's not going to happen again. The Commanders are going to win it. Eagles are going to be second. We'll make it as a wild card for sure. That's going to be a strong top two.
I agree.
I could see that being NFC North-esque from last year. No, I don't think it's going to be 15-2 and 14-3, but I could see it being 13-12, something like that, where Eagles get the first wild card with 12 wins or something.
Yeah.
So,
let's go to the NFC West. I have the Rams and the Niners making it out of the NFC. Is that too bowing? Is that like they?
yeah, that's so exciting.
That's so chalk.
You have the Rams winning it. I take it.
I do have the Rams winning it, and maybe I want to switch up here. Now, you know what? I'm throwing caution to the wind. I'm saying the Rams win it. I'm going to stick with that. Arizona's my damn wild card team. I just can't quit that little man. My little handsome buddy down in Arizona. I love him. And Marvin Harrison Jr. came back, and he's looking like Speedy Naylor is. He's just yoked off the... what's the... I can't think of a phrase. He's yoked. So, like, give me Arizona sneaking into the playoffs. And this is a division that it seems like every year... everyone beats each other up. Like they never win the one seed because they're constantly like, wow, the Niners lost. They went 2-4 in the division or whatever, and that really tanked them in like overall rankings and stuff. So, give me the Rams winning, the Cardinals making it.
So I love the Cardinals take. I also have them making it as a wild card. I just think you look back at last year. Everyone, like, I think in my head, I was like, the Cardinals sucked last year. But if you remember when the Vikings played them, that was a tough fight.
Yep.
And it was about mid-season. The Cardinals were hovering around the wild card. The Vikings kind of ended their season. It was week 13 or something, and the Vikings sort of killed their chances at the postseason. They finished 8-9. They weren't terrible. I think, It was one of those teams where at the end of the season they kind of had the chance to ruin some teams' playoff positioning and all that, but they're a feisty team. One of these days they're going to have to break through. And I don't trust Matthew Stafford's back.
Yeah,
I think I worry about them. I don't wish injuries upon anyone, people. I think the Rams are going to have a Stafford problem this year. I think they're going to take fourth. I think they're going to miss the playoffs entirely. I worry about his back. If he stays healthy, they'll be competitive. They're the Rams. You know, they're going to, but I think I worry about that viability long term.
They have a great
I got the
defense.
40.
Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the we should know it all too well. The Vikings got ran out of the building by that defense last playoffs. So, but again, you got to throw some darts at the dartboard in this exercise. I have the 49ers winning the division. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL this year, and they play like 2 playoff teams from last year or something ridiculous. It's more than that. It's maybe like 4, but they're playing like just the easiest schedule, and they got to capitalize. So 49ers win the division, Cardinals second.
I want to retcon something, and we haven't updated the Excel sheet yet. So, Arizona's not making the playoffs. I was looking at the remaining divisions, and I was like, there's no room for them. There's just no room for them. I have a different little man that I'm putting in the playoffs. Yep. So let's move to the NFC South. Well, Tampa Bay's going to win the division. All right. I'm probably going to pick them to win the Super Bowl again, like Nick Wright did. Nick Wright unironically picked them to win the Super Bowl on First Things First couple days ago. I
picked the Bears to make the Super Bowl last year.
He did. But but like the Buccaneers have like an actual quarterback. The whatever. Yes. The Buccaneers are winning the division. I think the Panthers are making the playoffs. The Panthers. Bryce Young looked good at the end of last year. He's going to come in. He's got a nice young receiving core. They're making the playoffs. I'm hitching my wagon both in fantasy football and in this picks thing that the Panthers will be a wild card team and will probably get smoked in the first round. But I think I'm gonna buy in. I'm gonna buy into he's my new little man. Kyler Murray has been pushed to the wayside.
You did. I didn't share my Google spreadsheet with you, did I? Because you're taking all my picks.
Did you also take the Panthers?
Also have the Panthers making the playoffs.
The shortest wild card in history. Just Kyler Murray and Bryce Young duking it out.
And they're gonna reap all the benefits of Adam Thielen mentoring them all training camp. And then the training wheels are going to come off, and these young receivers are just going to go crazy. Bryce Young is going to take that next step.
Because of
Panthers are going to... Because of McMillan, obviously.
I love
not
Ted
Xavier
McMillan.
Legette. Whatever.
Well, yeah. I love that.
So, Panthers, they're not going to win the division, people. Calm down. They're going to be a wild card. The champion of that division, yes, will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's just... They would have to really stub their toe to not win that division. It's not a very good division.
Falcons disrespect. Maybe it's Kirk Cousins catching strays all the way from the bench, but I think it's legitimately just... Yeah. And this is bold from us because I have a feeling I know how this next division is going to go in terms of picks, but bold from us to be like, I don't know if we can trust Michael Penix. I haven't seen enough yet. And then we're going to be like, JJ McCarthy is the savior. He's coming.
Super Bowl.
Brace yourselves, baby. Okay, NFC North. I'll tell you who's finishing in dead last, and that's Chicago. That's just a tradition at this point. I bet they have a great offseason next year, and everybody's high on them. And then I bet they finish last again. It's crazy. They keep doing it. They have great draft picks. Everybody loves them. And then they pick top 10 every year. I don't know what keeps happening. Bears are going to be last. I think I want to pick the Lions to finish in third so bad. And I have to because I'm going to put the Vikings in the playoffs. So the Lions have to finish third. And, oh no, did I back myself into a corner here? I think I only have one playoff spot left. Right?
Really?
No. I put 2 from the East, 2 from the South. So I can't, okay. So it's going to, I think.
You got 2.
Green Bay's winning the division. Minnesota's making as the 5 seed. Not quite, like you said, 15 and 13, but I think Green Bay wins 12 or 13 games. It's a down year for 1 seed in this conference, so I think that it's going to be like a 13 win 1 seed. I think the Vikings win 10 or 11 games, and that is enough to propel them into like that 5 spot. I'll let you give yours, and then we'll talk about how the road to the Super Bowl looks.
Yeah, about 2 months ago when we did our very, very early predictions for the Vikings when the schedule got released and everything, I think I had the Vikings winning the division with a 10 or 11 win season. I figured it was going to be a really competitive but not a ton of wins in the NFC North kind of season. After months of debating with myself, I have changed my pick, and I have the Packers winning the division too. This is super lame. We have like the exact same playoffs. I even had this written out before Micah Parsons got traded there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was like Wednesday night. I was, deep in the lab, putting together spreadsheets, and then Micah Parsons gets traded on Thursday. So it's yeah, I think that just strengthens them. They're a really good team. We believe Matthew Golden is going to be that dude at wide receiver. He's probably not going to be like, top 5 in the league already, but he's good. I think he's going to elevate that receiving core,
Even
which
if
desperately needs it.
even if, and I don't want to cut you off, but the joke is they always have like wide receiver 2s. And even if he's a wide receiver, even if they just added another wide receiver 2, they run the ball so well, and I do have a lot of respect for that defense already. And then they add Michael. I'll get into. I'll give some more takes.
They're going to be tough. They're going to be tough, and I think as Vikings fans, you never want to give the Packers any credit for anything, but I think they're going to be a tough out. I also have the Vikings as the second place team, and I have the Lions missing the playoffs.
Hell yeah.
Which feels a little blasphemous considering how good they've been the last 2 years, but tough decisions had to be made. And I like the Vikings roster a lot more than I like the Lions roster. And yes, the Lions were able to just score 1,000,000 points last season, but that defense still hasn't improved enough to where I believe that they can hold serve. And yes, their new coordinators might be good, but you're switching over the entire operation to new offensive and defense coordinators. That's going to be tough. Yes, questions abound with JJ McCarthy. We don't know what he's going to be, but this offense and defense, they have one of the most complete rosters in the NFL. And like we've said before on this show, we trust O'Connell with quarterbacks, and I think McCarthy has shown enough to them where they fully trust him going into week 1. And like you, I have them winning 11 games. I think I mapped it out game by game, and I had them winning about 12, but I'm going to handicap it and, sort of give them an extra loss because I think McCarthy's going to make a rookie mistake somewhere, and they're going to lose a game because of it. And fine. I just think that's going to happen at some point. I also do have a little bit of worry about this team's health. That's always potentially the dooming part of any team, but Jefferson with the hamstring, the receiving core is suddenly very thin. The offensive line is old, even though good, and Darrisaw's injury prone. All these guys have just question marks injury wise, and Harrison Smith is really old, and I don't know. Yes, you can say like, oh, you can't just talk about injuries being the thing that ruins the season, but for this team, they're pretty veteran, and I could see injuries really derailing it. That's worst case scenario, but that's one small worry I have. So I think I'd be hard pressed to actually pick them to win the division. But they're going to be good enough to make the playoffs. I do think, Jordan, they will make the playoffs like the Packers, but they will go further in the playoffs than the Packers. Because I think as the season goes on, McCarthy's going to do this, and he's going to go up, and he's going to keep getting better, and he's going to keep peaking at the right time. And truthfully, I trust him in the playoffs more than I trust Jordan Love in the playoffs. Because JJ McCarthy has proven to be a big game player. So
you know what? I want to get this out real quick because I'm gonna give my NFC pick real quick. Well, let me give my AFC pick out of the the AFC, like their conference champion. I don't think we need to do the conference championship matchup. Let's just do who's coming out of the conference. Okay, is that fair?
That's fine.
I think it's Baltimore. I'm Chris Bruce out in it. I think it's time. They will have dropped Mark Andrews' pass away from getting the opportunity to go fight for that. And I do think they would have put up more of a fight than the Bills did. The Bills didn't like lay down, but it just felt like they kept getting, they kept shooting 9s. They needed to shoot a 10. Like they just kept falling up that shell. So I'm gonna say the Ravens make it out. Would not be shocked if the Chiefs go again. But that's so bowing. I can't do that. And I picked the Bengals last year, and they missed the playoffs. So I'm not picking the Bengals this year.
Yep. I'm gonna go Bills.
That's
I said last year that it's the Chiefs until it's not the Chiefs, and it wasn't the Chiefs last year. Yeah, they made the Super Bowl, but they lost by 1 million. It's kind of like the Timberwolves making the conference finals back-to-back years, but then losing by 1 million in the conference finals 2 straight years. Like, yes, you could make the argument that Timberwolves have been like the second best team in the conference for 2 straight years, but I also think a lot of that had to do with matchups. And anyways, I think I can fairly now say that it's not the Chiefs because the Chiefs just got lambasted in the Super Bowl. It wasn't even competitive. I didn't even watch it after. I wasn't gonna be able to watch it at the start, so I was like, "Oh, I'll check the score and see if it's close later on." And it was like 30-0, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not turning this on."
Go ahead.
So Bills. I think the other thing too. I said this earlier. I do think they're the 1 seed. I think the strength of schedule. They have one of the easiest schedules in the league this year. I think they're going to be a team that they just roll over everybody, and they're going to have one of those 2 losses, 3 losses types of seasons, and they're going to be the 1 seed, and so they're going to have home field in the AFC Championship game. And I think finally, for the first time in his life, Josh Allen will beat Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game.
That would be pretty crazy. It would be nice for somebody to do it that isn't named Tom Brady or Joe Burrow. I guess Jalen Hurts. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. All right, let's do the NFC. I'll go first. Look, the last time I picked the Vikings to make the Super Bowl, they flamed out pretty bad, and they didn't even make the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure Kirk Cousins got fired after that. So, didn't feel great. So, look, Green Bay added Micah Parsons, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, one of the best, probably the best young pass rusher in the NFL because he is still a spring chicken. And I do think that it's going to come down to a Vikings-Packers matchup in the playoffs, and the winner is going to the Super Bowl. We'll see who wins it, but the winner's going to the Super Bowl. So we can say it's the NFC title game. And do you know what the thing about Green Bay is, Will?
What is the thing about Green Bay, Jordan?
They're in Wisconsin. And do you know what the thing about people from Wisconsin is? I say from Ohio, the safety of Southwest Ohio.
They wear cheese on their heads? I don't know.
They're fat drunks, and fat drunks don't understand matchups. The Vikings just went out and built what? A running team. They got Jordan Mason. They got all new interior offensive linemen. So the Packers answer that call by drafting someone that's bad at stopping the run and shipping out Kenny Clark, the Vikings' worst nightmare since, I don't know, like prime Aaron Rodgers. So all of a sudden, looks like Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are just going to have super highways through that Packers D-line, and I could play QB in that game. Throw me in, coach. Put me in my J.J. McCarthy jersey. I can hand it off to Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. They're going to go for 200 combined against this Packers defense. And Micah Parsons, I put it on the X.com account. You can go check the tweet. Micah Parsons is going to see Jordan Mason coming in to run power O directly at Micah. And he's going to do the LeBron when Kawhi checked in meme where he verbally is seen going, like for the podcast audience, I mouthed the F word. Like, I just don't. And don't get me wrong, yeah, like if their offense lives up to the billing and they're able to score a ton of points, cool, Micah's going to be able to pin his ears back and go. But the problem is the Vikings showed last year they're pretty good at getting out to early leads, and then they get to play from that position of advantage. And now I think they're going to be even better at putting teams away. So They'll probably miss the playoffs. I'm probably putting a curse on them. I have the Vikings going to the Super Bowl this season. The expectations are at an all-time high.
Which purple team wins the Super Bowl?
The Ravens. You can't. Come on, man. Like, it's J.J. McCarthy's first season. He's not going to do it. If he does, then he's the new Tom Brady, and, I'll anoint him GOAT. But no, it's not his time
I
yet.
saw somebody. I think it was like BetMGM or something. Posted a tweet of Chat GPT predicting the next 50 Super Bowl champions or something. The Vikings aren't winning one until 2061, according to that.
I believe it.
Super intelligent prediction by a AI large language model. They had expansion teams winning Super Bowls before the Vikings did, like the St. Louis Archers and the
London Blackhawks and
there was a London team and a Mexico City Aztecs team and all this crap. Like had made up teams winning Super Bowls before the Vikings. That just felt like a cruel joke, like on the Vikings 100-year anniversary. Like, you guys can finally get one. Congrats.
The year before, the Anchorage, Alaska Moon Riders won a Super Bowl, and it's like, who are these people?
J.J. McCarthy is going to be in a retirement home at that point. And we're going to be smoking cigars and eating bratwurst and just getting fat. But the NFC champion, like we said, this is a free-for-all, man. I mean, this is about as wild as it gets. The NFC is wide open. I think we've talked about any potential team can win. I mean, we had the Cardinals making the playoffs, the Panthers making the playoffs. I think the Washington, formerly known as Redskins, and Washington football team, I think the Commanders are going to make the Super Bowl. I just watched Jaden Daniels last year, and he was electric, and he wasn't just fast and shifty and Robert Griffin III like. He was just an elite quarterback, and I trust him. I trust him almost over any other NFC quarterback at this point. And what Dan Quinn has done with that team, their defense is stout. They've got leadership. They've got better receivers now. I don't think last year was a fluke. I think the way that they were able to have a legitimate playoff run last year, and I mean, they dismantled the 15-win Lions in Detroit.
That was crazy.
That wasn't just like a fluky safety won them the game or something. That was utter domination. They made Ben Johnson look confused, which doesn't happen very often. And that was about as impressive as I've seen. And yes, they got smoked out by the Eagles, but the Eagles were a juggernaut last year. I think the Washington Commanders are going to do it, and I think they're going to lose to the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh!
And the Vikings will. The Vikings will be the lone remaining 0-4 Super Bowl team.
Let me do my my final thoughts, because we're long in the tooth here now, folks. But my final thoughts will actually be adding to the hype up of your Washington Commandos. They have I think the most lethal combination in all of football is when you have a dominant defensive mind tag teaming with an elite quarterback talent who just truly has an understanding of the game. I hate to use this. Belichick and Brady. Belichick's defenses were almost untouchable, and Brady could execute the offense that he executed at a level like nobody else. And so anytime you see that marriage, it's lethal. I mean, it can really be super lethal. Now, don't get me wrong. Andy Reid's an offensive dude. Pat Mahomes an offensive mind. Obviously, like, he's a QB, great QB. They're winning Super Bowls left, right, and center. Or they're at least going to them and getting blown out. So, like, I'm not saying that you have to have it that way to have, like, a dynasty or to have a really good team. I just think that Dan Quinn has kind of been on this, like, pissed off revenge tour since he left Atlanta. And I'm glad he got his second shot. I'm glad it's with Washington. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be because they're in the conference, and I don't want them to be really good for a long time. But man, it seems like they're going to be really good for a long time. And I fell in love with Jaden Daniels. I thought he was a scrub coming out of Arizona State to play for the LSU Tigers, and he proved me all the way wrong. I was like, this kid is a superstar. It's insane. And then he comes to the NFL and is the same as he was. The one thing that concerns me, this is a dumb thing to concern me, have they changed their field turf? Because they are known to have ACLs go. And that's, as much as it seems like, oh, that's just bad luck, the players have said they play on crappy turf, cheap field material, and it blows guys' knees out. And odds are, Debo, Terry, Jaden, like someone might have a serious leg injury because they play on bad field material. And that's a dumb thing, but that does kind of concern me.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to Robert Griffin III, right? I mean, it's
AP
was on that field.
AP's was
AP too
on that field.
Yeah.
Like there's been a long history of them.
I guess the silver lining to your concern is they only have 8 home games.
That's the goal. That's that
my final thoughts.
Final
thoughts will be brief. This was a fun show. It's fun to be back in the saddle, and we'll do a real brief second segment here after the break, just previewing week 1. The NFL starts real fast, and Bears Vikings Monday night is only a week away. Thanks for listening, everybody. It's good to be back. Let's go, y'all.